So MLB The Show 23, for however you look at it, it's different. It's not the roster update that costs $70 that lots of times people accuse sports games to be. Now, it's not like they reinvented the wheel here, but they definitely changed how attributes work, and we need a little refresher course of what actually matters when looking and grading cards, because some people just don't seem to quite have it down. But leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel. But first, a quick shout out Underdog Fantasy. You guys could use my promo code Gomer. You guys will get a $100 deposit match guarantee. So you put in $50, they give you $50 for free. Just by using my promo code. I've been having a ton of fun with it lately. Basketball season is over. It's all baseball here on ahead. And Pick'em Slips is just a lot of fun. You know, went to the game last night, threw $5. The Twins getting their pants pulled down and smacked in broad daylight as not quite as bad when he had the over on Masataka Yoshida. So promo code Gomes at Underdog Fantasy. Thank you again to them for partnering with the channel for another year. Now, I do think this is kind of a position by position basis. We'll start with catcher, for example. Now, a guy like Joe Mauer, he is perfect, damn it. He has no flaws. He's good at literally everything, so it's not the most fair to look at him. But it is fair to look at a guy like Salvador Perez. For catchers, when it comes to fielding, the only things that really matter is going to be arm strength, how hard you throw it, blocking, whether you can keep the ball in front of you, and if they have the catcher pop time quirk or not. For some reason, Mauer does not have catcher pop time despite having maxed out fielding, arm, and basically every catcher attribute. And it's actually kind of rare. I mean, Will Smith, he's got good fielding. He doesn't have it. Jonah Heim, he's got 95. He doesn't have it. Only a select few. I know Sean Murphy. I know JT Realmuto have the quirk, and it definitely is a good one. First base fielding, really, it's just fielding and reaction. You're not throwing the ball too much as a first baseman, of course, and it's the big bodies. It's a guy like Frank Thomas, got a brick wall standing in at first base. It's like putting the fat guy in the goalie's crease. It's tough to get something by him right there. Really good to have those attributes. And also new this year is your fielding stat depends how often you're going to make the picks out of the dirt. If you hit a yellow throw on the throw accuracy meter, it's going to be in the dirt, and it's up to your first baseman's fielding level to determine how likely it is that they're going to scoop that from the dirt. So a guy like Frank Thomas, not the best in that case. Freddie Freeman, solid at 76, but it really is the more the better. If you take a card like this, Buck O'Neil right here, he is 1000% going to make a noticeable difference to those plays. But on the flip side, you probably don't hit yellow throws that often. But if you do, it's a nice bailout feature. And then after that, it's the reaction, really, how quick that they react to the ball. It's still funky. Doesn't always work that way, but it should. Infielders, yeah, fielding matters, arm matters, how quick you're gonna get it out, how fast you throw it. Reaction, of course, matters too. Arm accuracy, I don't think is a huge difference maker. It slightly impacts how big that throw accuracy top notch is, but you know, if you've got like above 50, you're probably not really going to notice a huge difference. When it comes to outfielders, it's also changed up. Reaction is more important than it's ever been. If you look at a guy like Aaron Judge, his live series card in particular, why am I looking at my inventory as if I have him? I wish I did. He goes for 150, a pretty penny. You got 51 reaction. That is basically unusable, especially if you have this kind of speed. 50 reaction, 50 speed, and 70 fielding. Like, he does nothing good. The ball's going to get past him, but hey, at least he throws it in hard at 88 arm. So you really want high attributes there. But if you had 70 reaction, like Trey Turner, but really good speed, you're going to be well off. It'll be okay more often than not. One big thing that I want to talk about is what you see right here, that I have David Wright out of position at second base, and he's got 83 fielding. He's got 77 reaction. That's not the best, but it's still pretty damn good, and he's going to get the same animations as everybody else. So Anybody with a primary or secondary second base or shortstop can play the inverse. So in David's case, a secondary or shortstop, he can play second base. He's gonna take a little hit on the fielding. You see it's 98. It's gonna drop down to 83. So he loses 15, but that's really not a big deal. So the places you can play guys out of position are the outfield or second, short, and third. Don't try it with catcher or else they will not catch the ball. First base, the same thing. You could throw it right at their chest and you got a hole in their glove. But everywhere else is kind of fair game. I mean, I've even experimented with Chipper Jones out in left field. It's pretty brutal. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. There's so many good cards in the game right now. It's probably not going to, but if you wanted to try it. So we'll talk about hitting attributes now. Start down the row. So contact. Contact matters, of course. Contact is what determines the size of the PCI when no runners are on base. Yes, clutch. You've probably heard a lot about it. It's a huge attribute this year. Clutch becomes the PCI size determinator when it comes down to runners in scoring position. That's not to say contact does not matter at all, because it does. And we got to talk with some of the guys over at SDS about this. Not an exact number, but if I were to create one based off what we were told, I would say something like 85-15. 85% the clutch when it comes to runners in scoring position. Obviously, it's still better to have max contact than 40, and you'll notice a little bit of difference on that, especially the higher difficulties, but widely it is clutch, which is a huge attribute. So contact and clutch, you really want those two to be high. And if you've got a guy with lower clutch, maybe you want to think about batting them higher in the order. If you bat them leadoff, typically they won't get quite as many opportunities with runner in scoring position. I mean, Luis Arraez batting first here. It's guaranteed his first at bat that nobody's going to be on base. Power, I feel, is pretty self-explanatory. It's how hard you're going to hit the ball. Then we go down to vision, which is also important. You know, there's a little controversy with Aaron Judge's POTM card that dropped because he has extremely low vision. I mean, the kind where you gotta start scheduling that LASIK appointment. 54. Now, if you're on All-Star difficulty, you'll feel it. It's certainly not great. Legend difficulty, obviously, those top players are definitely going to notice it. There's a huge disparity between 54 and like 94, or some of the top-end cards. But vision is how big your outer PCI is. You know, if you're, I call it the bailout stat. It's if your PCI is not quite on the ball, it's that vision which is going to help you out, make contact, hit a foul ball, keep it going, next pitch. And it also increases your timing window. So again, I call it the bailout stat. You got higher vision. Essentially, it will be easier for you to get good timing on your swings with high vision. You have more time, a larger window of opportunity to get a good swing with a guy like Luis Arraez opposed to Aaron Judge, who has more than double Aaron's plate vision right here. So it's a very, very important stat, which a lot of people aren't quite sure how it works. Discipline literally does not matter at all. Supposedly, it measures how likely on a check swing that you'll get the benefit of the doubt, that you'll get the call. I don't think it does jack shit in the game. Bunting. Bunting is a good stat. It really is. Bunting is so overpowered. It is honestly extremely ridiculous, because if you take a guy like Lou Brock, if you take a Byron Buxton, who's got max bunt, max speed, you drop it down to second base on a push bunt, they're going to be safe probably 9 times out of 10. So it's effective. It is effective. And then obviously speed, steal, speed, how fast you run. But steal is also very important too. Perfect example, Mike Trout. He's got max speed, but he has 48 steal. That's where you'll notice the guy get a terrible jump, and even though he's quick as shit, he still gets thrown out because he didn't get on the run fast enough. So stealing matters a lot. It is not just 99 speed, hit L2, and you know, you're dashing, you get a free base. No, you gotta have good steal too. Honestly, if you had max steal and like 75 speed, that might be better than what Trout has right here for swiping bags. Now, we didn't touch on durability or base running aggressiveness, but those don't matter at all. Those are completely sim stats. We'll talk about pitching here too briefly. Pitching, I think, is a little bit more self-explanatory. Stamina, how long you're gonna last. Hit per 9 is the battle against contact. It's hit per 9 versus contact between a pitcher and a batter. And once again, that's gonna swap to pitching clutch versus batting clutch when it comes down to runners in scoring position. K per 9 is the battle stat against vision. The higher K per 9, the more likely that your opponent's gonna swing and miss, that they're gonna strike out, obviously. BB9 is very important. Now, there's been testing. We did a lot of testing last year if the individual pitch control actually matters. As far as we know, it does not. The determining factors of how accurate or how tight that your par is going to be, because your perfect accuracy region, the shaded circle, you want it to go there, not there, or you don't want it a huge gaping hole. You know, be a tight end, not a wide receiver, I guess. Jesus. But BB9 and velocity are the two big factors when it comes to accuracy. Home runs per 9 matters 0. It is a complete sim stat. Then velocity, of course, is just how hard they throw it. And break, I think individual break matters. Bob Gibson's got a hard breaking slider with good velo on it too. But usually it's the per 9 stats that you want to look at. Their repertoire, what pitches they throw, and also their motion. Because some guys like Randy Johnson, if he had a random, you know, the Joe Random pitching motion, he'd suck. He wouldn't be that good. So it's a big factor as well. When it comes to pitchers, I always say you got to use them. You really have to actually test them out. A batter, I can pretty much tell you how good they're going to be. So that's what we got. Those are the stats that you guys should be looking at when it comes to finding cards that you want to grab. That is what's going to make a card great. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know what stats you guys look for personally. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure to leave a like down below. Thank you all for watching.